Right, that's where we're heading. Hi guys, and today heading up to an old hill fort. There's nothing really left of it. It's a couple of thousand years old, I suspect, making use of the prominent hill, a rocky outcrop. But it also holds a bit of a secret from the 70s. When we get up to the top, I'll show that to you. We're already quite a way up. It's been a gentle slope on the path up to now. This is where it gets a bit more interesting. This is the route that I'll be taking. It's actually a little bit damp today, so let's watch out that it's not slippy. I'm going to put the camera over the edge, but I'm a little bit nervous myself getting too close to that. We're not at the top yet. There's a view over to Wales over that way. But I just got that funny feeling being a little bit too close to danger. So I'm going to put the camera in the bag now, so I've got my hands free for the last bit. In the distance we've got the Clwydian range. I think it's that small one there. Hoping to go up maybe next week. So if we use this trig point to steady the camera, see what this trip's really about. So, in the distance, what have we got? Some ugly factories and chemical works. But over that way is the estuary to the River Mersey, and depending on how clear the weather is, quite prominent is the cathedral. It's on this side of Liverpool really, as opposed to the city centre. Keep going in, you can see we've even got a few skyscraper style buildings. There's a Liver building. Anyway, you've got Liverpool city centre about 10 to 12 miles from here, and we've got a really good view of it, especially on a clear day. And in the 70s they thought it would be good to keep an eye on what happens to Liverpool, being a big city with docks and large population. So they chose a site on the top of this hill. And I'll just walk over to it now. You can easily miss it. It's so easily, it's hidden in full view, if you know what you're looking for. So just a few steps back from the top, in the corner of a farmer's field. We've got a big manhole cover. quickly going to break out an assortment of torches and head torches, make sure I'm more than covered, and I'm going to head down the ladder. It's actually locked open, held in the open position. I think that's for everyone's safety. Inside you can see a couple of old mattresses. It's all dark, the paint's gone. There's a chemical toilet down there. There's quite a bit of rubbish. Well, I didn't hang around too long down there. It's something to be aware of. Trying to climb a very thin, slippery ladder, and holding onto a torch, even though I had the head torch. I wanted something I could illuminate down below as I went, and holding the camera as well. It's difficult to do it all and feel safe, and especially when you're heading into a black hole. But overall the structure itself has lasted. Doesn't seem to be any real water ingress. First thing people have done is set fire to it down there for some reason. But so they've just got the frame, the frame and the springs of a couple of bunk beds. There's a little room that I think was meant for a chemical toilet, and I think in the ceiling they would have had some measurement sensors and possibly a periscope. And the idea was they were basically there to monitor the mushroom cloud over Liverpool, if it ever happened. And I believe these little monitoring stations are all over the country, some of them in better condition than others. The one thing I don't like with a trapdoor like that is you may be able to lock it from the inside, but if someone just puts a couple of huge boulders on top, you ain't getting out. And even though, you know, it's locked off now, it does give you that fear. What if I end up trapped in this hole? I probably don't get a mobile phone signal in there. I didn't hang around to check, but I found a little spot just off the main path, part way down the hill, and I'm just going to make a brew. So I've got my mini chopping board as a base, just to steady it a bit. Last time I was out I learnt with these posh teas with a little tag on, you leave it dangling down the side, it catches fire, so we'll keep that on top today. I was reading a report on the internet, I think it had been declassified, and it was basically explaining the contingency plans that have been put in place by the government different departments. And well, what stood out really was the preparations they'd made for the event of an all-out nuclear attack. I think at one point they'd stored or set aside 50,000 tins of corned beef. And they basically summed up to say, we don't have the resources to prepare for the absolute worst in case it doesn't happen and it becomes a waste of money, even though those preps could be useful in many scenarios. But the overall conclusion seemed to be that no matter how much of a contingency plan they had and how much food they stored, for the general population, life was going to be grim after a nuclear attack. And I think it just helps you to be aware that you do need some preparation yourself, some self-sufficiency, some skills, because ultimately you can't rely 100% on the government. In a serious event, they have a set of priorities and the general population isn't the top of the list.